We are going to offer a gift to everyone, not just the winners. And in this gift is the gift of seeds. You're welcome. And these gifts of seeds are not necessarily on your, here, Elizabeth, hold these, in your packet of information. Oh, thanks. Oh, great. I'll just leave this for Annacut. These are seeds that are indigenous to this area of where you live, and also in Washington and also in Montana. These are wild mint seeds. Yes. And so, of course, the connection is that you also are drinking mint in your tea, and it is a medicinal plant. You're welcome. And so in the apocalypse, in the books, we also, and you'll see also in Octavia Butler, that in go bags are often seeds. So seeds can be that metaphor, but also the beautiful futurity. So we're hoping with this, this part of your go bag, this is about futurities. This is about how do we make sure that that hope that we imbued in that stone has some actionable outcomes for the future. And as some of our beautiful scholars have written about, and Elizabeth read in the first reading, that, what was the quote from Chiboy?
Sometimes you risk everything for a life worth living, even if you aren't the one around to live it.
And so those are, part of the beauty of your seeds. So we would like you just to take a moment. That was just fun. Nobody was mean-spirited towards each other, which is really great. We know that Uno isn't, Yeah, it could be a little tricky, but let's be for real. In the zombie apocalypse or the apocalypse in general, people might be cranky, a little bit cranky. So, Liz, I love the conversation about how could we also find some more cooperative games that are, how we can come together. So maybe we can, dream up some of those for our curricular go bags. So we have one last request of you before we move to the next, is to be thinking about these seeds metaphorically and also as futurity. And reflecting on the idea of planting seeds, even though you might have to move on. So who will benefit from your planting of these seeds? And be thinking about understanding how to identify and potentially use medicinal and edible plants are important when you're thinking about having to live off the land, or even just in your everyday now. And then reflecting on the idea of plants, how you could maintain hope when survival is uncertain, what it means to plan for a future you can't see yet. And we all know that, right? Because we don't know what the future necessarily brings, especially in these current times. And it's tough, right, to be a teacher right now. So holding the hope, how can small actions like preserving these seeds or planting these seeds, how can they represent resilience? So whatever struck your spirit, just take 5 minutes and write in your journal about the metaphor of seeds.
And share with
futurities.
your group, right, if you feel called to.
Yeah. All right, as you wrap up your thoughts on our seed station, which we hoped would help participants think about futurity and hope, and resilience, drawing inspiration from Indigenous storytelling and also land-based learning and speculative fiction around the themes of survival and possibility. And we often hear from our characters in our speculative fiction that hope is just as essential as are the material conditions that our characters find themselves in. And so we're going to shift out of our beautiful land-based seed station, and we are going to do some deep work in community building together. About you've engaged with you've drawn your own go bag, your own personal go bag. And you've probably identified some things that you personally need to put in there to survive. But we know that survival isn't just an individual action. And all of our characters in the Marrow Thieves, they need each other. They create chosen families. And then they have to come into they need to figure out how to support one another. So we're going to give you some go bags today so that you have your own special place to put all of these things that you're gathering. And we're going to ask you to be in communication with your chosen family table. And you are going to decide, I know this is going to be tough, on 5 collective items to put in your go bags for an apocalyptic scenario. Just 5 things. So we want you to consider what you've learned from the previous stations, from the rock station, from the seeds, and also about your own coming to stories. So you can choose items that are either tangible or essential values or symbolic representations of survival. So select items that reflect your group's collective understanding about what's necessary to survive and to thrive. So we're going to ask that you prepare to share out. So we haven't done a lot of whole group sharing because after lunch we're going to come back and have some reflection and debrief. But we want you to be thinking about what you could share with all of us once your group decides. So this should take you to lunch. And Elizabeth, is there anything you want to add with this?
No, just, classic, make sure that the person who knows that they're going to be the share out person is prepared and that we lovingly, provide community needs whatever they need to feel like they can come back to do that after lunch.
This works.
Oh.
Okay. You have time to decide 5 items.
5 items. Are you 5 collective items or just I think if we were actually proceeds or this one PR plant identification journal we can staple together. We're going to see that's actually what I wrote for the like a plant identification. Some water, there's some water there. Yeah, sure.
It was all like used to.
I got lighter than matches too. Fire, the way to cook it.
Oh, this is exactly how my husband, I didn't put my
All right, everyone. Unlike the apocalypse, there is food just here waiting for you. So we will step outside of the Marrow Thieves world for half an hour. And we'll have this amazing lunch that Tanya and the crew have for you. And Elizabeth's going to ask you for just a little bit of homework.
Yeah, it's light homework, right? Because you all have your prepared remarks. You're very, it's not, don't worry, just speak from your heart and your experience. But basically, when my mom and I were, well, thinking about these 3 different activities, we thought about the rock as joy, the seeds as futurity and hope, and then this last activity as identity. So how are you going to bring your identity, whatever that means to you? You know, for me and my mom, our big identity that we connect with Marrow Thieves is our Blackfeet identity. But for you, you know, I talk to folks who being a teacher could be the identity that really compels you, or being a parent that could be the identity that really compels you. So I'd love for you all to think about those things. And then after lunch, we're going to take 10 minutes for groups to share, probably maybe, I think more than 10 minutes. But one person from your group will present on your essential artifacts that you decided as a group to be in your bag. And then any way that you want to connect those to those themes of joy, futurity, and identity. So talk amongst yourselves and have a great lunch.